This video will outline the 4 key ideas of the Teaching for Understanding, or TfU framework. This video is a quick overview of all 4 elements of the TfU framework. Subsequent videos will delve deeper into these 4 separate elements individually. This video is only meant to give you a brief overview of the framework. By the end of this video, you will know the 4 elements of the TfU framework, get a brief overview of how each element works inside the TfU framework, and become more familiar with the terms of TfU. Some of these terms have been further subdivided to include AZAR-specific vocabulary to suit our planning and instructional goals. They will be included in this presentation. The Teaching for Understanding framework contains 4 key components: generative topics, understanding goals, performances of understanding, and ongoing assessment. The TfU framework begins with generative topics. There are 5 key features to keep in mind when developing a generative topic. They are central to one or more disciplines or domains. They are interesting to students. They are accessible to students, meaning there are lots of resources available to help them pursue this topic. There are multiple connections between the generative topic and the students themselves, their own experiences, both inside and outside of school. And lastly, they're interesting to the teacher. The second part of the TfU framework are the understanding goals. At AZAR, we have overarching understanding goals. These are identified in our curriculum guides, and they are also included in the pull-down menu in Rubicon Atlas when you're creating your curriculum maps. They are understanding goals for the subject over the span of the entire school year. We also have divisional understanding goals. These goals guide the development of units at each division: ECE, UES, middle school, and high school. These are also included in the AZAR curriculum guides. These goals are specific to each division based upon the larger overarching understanding goals. Unit-long understanding goals are developed by teaching teams. These are the understanding goals that you develop for the unit you are planning. You may have 3 or 4 understanding goals for each unit. A good way to write understanding goals is to use a sentence starter like, "By the end of this unit, students will understand," or "By the end of this unit, students will understand that." When developing your understanding goals, keep in mind that UGs should be interconnected to one another throughout a course so that students can see the connections between one part of the course and another. The third part of the TfU framework are performances of understanding, or POUs. These are at the heart of developing understanding, and therefore they need to be linked closely to understanding goals. Understanding goals should span the beginning to the end of the unit. So in your planning, you would include introductory POUs, a beginning performance at the start of a unit to signal where students are already in their understanding. You would continue to include guided POUs throughout the unit, and you would end with a final POU or culminating activity. Remember, offering students multiple ways to demonstrate their learning at various times throughout a unit is really important in teaching for understanding. The final part is ongoing assessment. In order for students to learn for understanding, students need these 3 things: success criteria, feedback, and opportunities for reflection throughout the entire sequence of instruction. Success criteria: sometimes teachers may either provide this to the students or engage students in the co-construction of the success criteria. This is an excellent best practice for teachers. It enables students to identify and articulate what success would look like on their POUs or culminating activity. Second is feedback. This could involve feedback from teachers, peers, or from self-evaluation. And third, opportunities for reflection throughout the entire sequence of instruction. Time for frequent student reflection throughout the learning process is a very valuable component of every classroom. Here are a few final thoughts for this video. There are 4 components to the Teaching for Understanding framework: the generative topic, understanding goals, performance of understanding, and ongoing assessments. You also know that understanding goals include overarching understanding goals for the subject, divisional understanding goals for the divisions, and unit-long understanding goals for the individual units. And here's one more thing to think about. When you're getting yourself acquainted with the TfU framework, ask yourself, how do I know my students are understanding well? How do I know this to be true? What evidence do they provide to demonstrate their understanding throughout the entire duration of the unit or course? Something for you to think about with the TfU framework.